Hello everyone. I've been working on my little fall journals today, and I have everything in the signature that I think I'm going to put in pretty much, and I've decorated the covers. So I have things prepped for the second journal, so I thought I would turn the camera on and let you see how I am preparing these journals. So I did the cover. On this one there was a lot of blank wood looking space, so I put on a coffee dyed doily, a couple of the little cut aparts from the kit that I'm using. It says Grateful Heart, so that will be the name of this journal. And I had these little copper leaf sequin things that somebody sent me, and so I just glued some of those on, scattered them there. For this cover I used this little plate that says journal, and this came from Crystal's kit. Excuse me, Victorian Autumn, and I will link that kit below, and added some more of the leaves. On the inside cover I am going to make a couple of little pockets. Very simple. These journals are quite simple, especially compared to the domestic arts journals that I just finished. But I took off the cutoffs from these papers, and I'm making pockets with them. And this one, I used the front side of this because it said farm and garden seeds. I just cut it in half and sewed it on there. So I am going to sew these on. Just using a straight stitch. That's upside down because there's words on there. Quick and simple. And now I'll add the one on the back. So in the front, I am going to put one of Crystal's tags. I'll punch the hole out there, and I will end up putting some fiber in there. So this is a digital tag. These papers are from the Simple Stories kit. I think it's called Autumn Splendor. And I'll ink the back too, but I don't have to do that right now. And I have this card to tuck inside here. I think this was the only one I had left that was portrait. The rest are, which I needed some landscape ones to make another pocket inside, so I'm glad to have the landscape ones. But let's see, I'm gonna put a little cluster on here, I think. I'll put it in this way. No, I'll put it in this way so I can put a cluster right there. Kind of like a little tab. And in the back pocket, I have the floating pocket that we made in the previous video with the tag. Next is some tracing paper. And all I did to this was add some stickers. So let me grab my sticker sheet. That's one thing I didn't bring over here with me. And I also used one of Crystal's swags that come with her digital. And I'll show you why I used one of those. I'll move my sewing machine out of the way. So I just took one of these word labels and put it up here. It's like a little banner. I'm going to use Fabulous Fall. And I will use this one here that says Autumn Splendor. And because it's tracing paper, it shows through. So I'm going to pick another one, Grateful Heart, and put it right on top of the other one so you can't see that back. And then I took one of the swags and put it over that. It doesn't cover it exactly, but it does cover it. Let's use that one. And I don't need to ink. Oh, I already did ink this one. There was a lot of white space in there because you can't cut all that curly Q stuff out. So I just rubbed my ink over it. What did I do on this one? Oh, I used that one. Again, I rubbed ink on that. And I brought my glue over, so I'm just going to glue this down. And I didn't do anything to the back side of that page. Then it's just one of Crystal's pages, and these pages are backed with various other journal pages, journal kit pages. This one I think is from Ephemera's Vintage Garden. That one is a graph paper, and I don't even know where it's from. I'm going to do something a little different on this, because here I have a fabric flip with my Dresden plate pieces, and then this pocket was on the other side of it. Let me show you. I have them reversed, but I realized that I have the fabric flip just a couple pages past it, so I wanted to put one flip on the front half of the signature and the other flip on the back half of the signature. So that's what I'm going to do here. I have my flip chosen, and I took one of Mrs. Cog's Autumn Words cider, and I rounded the corners and inked it. I'm just going to take this copy dyed lace that somebody sent me. It's perfect for this project. I'm going to cut a piece of it the width that I want, and then I'm just going to sew everything down. And let that lace stick up just a tiny bit off the page. And I'm just going to zigzag right there, and it'll catch everything. And then on this side of the page, I'm going to sew some lace to the edge of the page. I just saw my lace here somewhere. I know I just saw it. Oh, I moved it over here so I could find it. Haha. And now I will sew the pocket on. I rounded the top corner just for some interest. I did have to trim, oh, I'm going to have to trim some more. No, I don't. I trimmed a little bit off of this card. These pages are folded in half, so it's 6 inches, and then the card is 6 inches, and I needed a little bit of leeway, so I just trimmed a tiny bit off. Back to straight stitch. Working with a kit, a journal, a paper pad, and a kit are fun because you have ready-made decorations. So this is a welcome change from the journals that I just did that were very labor intensive. I like to intersperse easy and quicker ones in between the ones that I put a lot more work into. Now I have the word gourd from Mrs. Cog's Autumn Words and Sayings, and I rounded the corners and inked it. I'm going to just glue that on, but I want to add this ticket sticker that says pumpkins. On this one, I used the ticket that says leaves, so I used the word crisp. And in this pocket, I put the card that I made with manila file folder, but I haven't made another one yet. I have to make 2 more, so that will go in this pocket. So that's done. Seems like I'm going through this really fast, but that's because I did all the prep work already. Now I have a page that will be stamped on, so I'm going to stamp that really cool pumpkin stamp. And then I've got some leaves scattered on that page, a sunflower, and then some pumpkins here. And I'm going to do that one right now, because in case you don't know that you can stamp with 2 different colors on one stamp. So I've got my stamps here. These are from Stampin' Up. The year isn't on them. They used to put the year on the label, but these are quite a few years old, I believe. And I have my watercolor markers. These are Stampin' Up! Markers, but you can use any watercolor marker. This one is actually called Pumpkin Pie. Perfect. And this one is Handsome Hunter. So, I'm going to take the brush end of the marker and just color the pumpkin part. And you probably already know you can do this, but just in case you don't, I thought I would do it on camera. And the Handsome Hunter can, of course, do the stem. And just huff your breath on it to moisten anything that dried out, and stamp. Ta-da! I forgot to do the green. There was a little bit of green ink left on that. Guess it's going to have to be good enough because I don't dare do that. Or I'll touch it up in a bit. So much for that demonstration, but it gives you the idea. Then I just have another page from Crystal's kit. I didn't do anything to the pages. They're very pretty. This grid that I printed on the backside, some of them, like that one too, I think, the margin was bigger on the paper, so I had to cut some of the image off, which made me sad, but I need to pay attention to the margins when I am printing on the backside of them. So for here, I am going to pick out a flip. Just pick that one. And just sew it at the top. This page is light enough you could easily journal on that. And then back here I took one of the, I think they're 4x4 cards that came with the paper pad, and I rounded the corner and inked the edge, and I'm just going to sew that on as a tuck spot after I cut these threads. And I just have one of the cards from the paper pad that's tucked in there, and then this image from Crystal's kit, which I think is gorgeous. Let's see if I missed anything. Oh, I added this to the back. This is another image from Crystal's kit. It's actually one of the pages, but it didn't get printed on the back, and it was extra because I had printed two of another page by mistake. So I cut that apart. I fussy cut it out and glued it to a green cardstock and glued it on as a little pocket. So I'll have to put a tag in there, but I don't want to do it to this because look at that. Can't cover that up. Okay, so on this page, this is a composition book page that was coffee dyed, and I, instead of cutting off the edges that were too wide, I just folded them. So I'm going to glue these strips. These were the edges, the top edges that came off. Actually, I don't think these are too wide. That's one of the cutoffs when I cut the paper down to size, but some of the narrower ones like this, these were cut off of the top of the paper. There's always, they have at the top of the paper, or the bottom, the name of the company, the paper pad line, and the name of the specific sheet. And then there's usually a decorative piece. So that's what that came from. But this little strip, I think, is just a cutoff as I cut the paper down to size. And I'm just going to decorate the flap with that. And you can still write on the back side of the flap. I'm not taking away all of your extra writing space. You can still write there. I almost went with the plaid side on this, but then I decided I like the leaves. The colors of this kit are so beautiful, of this paper pad, and the colors and images on Crystal's kit are very beautiful also. Everything goes together nicely. It's all fall colors, vibrant and gorgeous and right up my alley. I'm just going to take this little fabric cluster and I'm going to sew it here, but I have to make sure I open up this flap or I'd be sewing it closed. I stopped sewing when I got to the fold because that is hanging off. So I didn't want to sew it to the fold and have it fold over. For this one, I sewed it this way so I didn't have to worry about that. And then we have another page from Crystal's kit. And we have a ledger page. And I'm just going to sew another cluster on the back side of the signature. Actually, I think I glued it on the other ledger page, but that's okay. Gluing or sewing is fine. I'm just snipping the threads. Now, this is a placemat, a paper placemat, and I had to cut quite a bit off it. So this side lost a lot of the decorative area, and then the top. Actually, I think I want it to go this way. So it goes that way in the book. It's a vintage paper placemat. And then the final image from Crystal's kit goes in the center. Let me see if I got everything. Let's turn that page right side up. I'll have to add a little bit of stamping. So yeah, we're done, except for the stamping. And if I decide to do anything else, which I probably won't, because I did want to keep these simple, but I did make fabric flips and clusters, and I made journaling tags, and I did make stuff to go in there. And I am loving these fall journals. So I've got these two ready to be sewn together as soon as I do the stamping, and I just have one more to make. Oh, I still have to make these other tags too. They're journal cards. I have to make a couple more of those. So they're coming along very nicely. I've got a little more time to craft before I have to move on to other duties. So this is another kind of short video, but I don't think you need to see me doing everything again in the third book. But I appreciate you coming and watching and hanging out and crafting with me, and I hope that you are enjoying these fall journals as I am, and I will see you probably for the final flip through on these. Have a creative day. Bye-bye.